when my son-in-law, Brandon, tried to scam me with fake investment opportunities, thinking I was a naive old woman who doesn't understand technology. I had already run a complete criminal background check on him. While he thought I was a trusting mother-in-law, I had documented every detail of his identity theft, wire fraud, and racketeering history. Comment where you're watching from and stay until the end, because this isn't just family fraud. It's the story of catching a 15-year criminal. My name is Diane Richardson. I'm 72 years old and live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a retired accountant who worked in corporate accounting for 45 years. I'm widowed. My husband, Henry, died 4 years ago. I have one daughter, Jessica, 47 years old, and Jessica has a husband, Brandon Reed. He's 35, charming, handsome, and in my opinion, a complete sociopath. My suspicions about Brandon started from the day he married Jessica. They met 3 years ago, in 2021, on an online dating app. Jessica was a successful marketing executive with good income and a stable life. Brandon introduced himself as a financial consultant. The red flags started immediately. Brandon's business card had a company name, but the address was vague. It said Reed Financial Solutions, but couldn't be traced on Google. The business license couldn't be verified. When I questioned his professional background, Brandon gave evasive answers. Diane, I work with private clients. Confidentiality agreements prevent me from sharing specifics. A convenient excuse. When I asked for personal references, similar vagueness. Most of my contacts are international clients. Time zone differences make it difficult to connect you. Another convenient excuse. When I questioned his family background, a tragic orphan story emerged. Parents died in a car accident when I was 18. No siblings. Been self-made ever since. Perfect story. No verifiable family connections. No checkable history. But Jessica was in love. Brandon was charming, attentive, romantic. He bought Jessica expensive gifts, took her on exotic vacations. How did he afford it? He said, successful investment portfolio. I was suspicious, but Jessica was happy. I didn't interfere initially. After they got married, Brandon's true nature began to emerge. Initially, subtle financial probing began. Diane, Jessica mentioned you have substantial retirement savings. A smart woman like you probably has a good financial advisor. I manage my own finances, thank you. Really? In today's complex market? That's risky for someone your age. My age. Subtle ageism. Brandon, I've been managing finances professionally for 45 years. Of course. But times change. New investment vehicles, cryptocurrency, international markets. Probably not your area of expertise. Not my area of expertise. Dismissive. Gradually, the pressure increased. At family dinners, Brandon consistently steered conversations to money topics. Diane, what's your portfolio allocation? Stocks, bonds, real estate? That's private information, Brandon. Of course, I'm just curious from a professional perspective. I see so many seniors losing money to outdated investment strategies. Seniors losing money. Fear tactic. Brandon, my investments are performing well. Define well. 3% annually? 4%? Because I have clients earning 15 to 20% consistently. 15 to 20% consistently. Red flag. No legitimate investment guarantees such returns. Brandon, returns like that involve substantial risk. Not with proper diversification and expert management. But you'd need someone who understands modern markets. Someone who understands. implying I don't. At Christmas 2022, Brandon made a direct approach. Diane, I have an exciting opportunity. Exclusive investment fund, limited availability, but I can get you in. What kind of fund? International commodities, emerging markets, some cryptocurrency exposure, very sophisticated portfolio. What's the minimum investment? $250,000. I know it sounds like a lot, but returns are guaranteed 18% annually. Guaranteed returns. Huge red flag. No investment guarantees returns. Brandon, guaranteed returns don't exist in legitimate investments. Diane, with respect, that's old school thinking. Financial markets have evolved. This fund has proprietary algorithms. Proprietary algorithms. Classic scam language. I'll need to see a prospectus, SEC filings, fund management credentials. This is a private placement, different regulations, very exclusive. Documentation is limited. Limited documentation. Another red flag. Brandon, I'm not interested in undocumented investments. Diane, an opportunity like this won't wait. I'm offering because you're family. Family obligation. Emotional manipulation. That night, I made a decision. Time to investigate Brandon thoroughly. I hired a private investigator, Marcus Thompson, former FBI agent, specializing in financial crimes. Hi, Marcus. I need a complete background check on my son-in-law. Something's not right. What are your concerns? Vague business background, pressure for large investment, promises of unrealistic returns. Classic warning signs. I'll start with basics. Real name verification, education, employment history, criminal records. 2 weeks later, Marcus called. Diane, we need to meet, privately. Marcus's findings were shocking. Diane, your son-in-law's name isn't Brandon Reed. What? Real name is Brian Williams. He legally changed it 8 years ago. Name change. Why? Criminal history? Extensive. Wire fraud, identity theft, investment fraud. 3 different states, multiple aliases. Multiple aliases. Serial criminal. Marcus opened a file folder. 2015, Minnesota. Brian Williams, alias Brandon Reed, sentenced to 18 months federal prison for running a fake investment scheme. Defrauded elderly victims out of $400,000. Elderly victims, my demographic. 2018, Florida. Same person, alias Bradley Rogers, arrested for identity theft and credit card fraud. Victims were widowed women over 65. Widowed women over 65. Exactly my profile. 2020, Texas. Alias Brett Richardson, charged with mail fraud and money laundering. Targeted retirees with promises of high return investments. Targeted retirees. Pattern established. Diane, this man is a professional predator. He specifically targets older women with assets. What about his marriage to Jessica? Classic con artist technique. Marry into the family to establish trust, then exploit financial resources. Does Jessica know? Unlikely. These criminals are expert manipulators. They compartmentalize their lives. I felt sick. My daughter was married to a convicted felon. Marcus, what's his current legal status? He's on federal probation from the Texas conviction. Any financial crimes would violate probation and send him back to prison. And the investment opportunity he offered me? Classic Ponzi scheme setup. Takes your money, uses it to pay earlier investors, keeps the majority for himself. Evidence? I've documented everything. Plus, I believe the FBI is already investigating him for new crimes. FBI investigating. This was bigger than I thought. Diane, you need to be very careful. If he suspects you know his real identity, he might escalate tactics. Escalate how? Elder abuse, financial coercion, possibly physical intimidation. Physical intimidation? I was a 72-year-old woman, living alone. What do you recommend? Document everything. Record conversations if possible. Don't confront him directly. Let authorities handle it. I agreed to the careful approach. But Brandon escalated the pressure. At New Year's 2023, Brandon made an unannounced visit with Jessica. Diane, we need to discuss your financial security urgently. What's urgent? Market volatility. Your savings are at risk in traditional accounts. Inflation is eroding your purchasing power. Fear tactics escalating. I'm comfortable with my current investments. Diane, Jessica interrupted. Brandon knows what he's talking about. He's helped so many clients preserve wealth. Jessica was supporting him. The manipulation was working. Show me documentation of these helped clients, I said. Client confidentiality prevents that, but I can show you theoretical returns. Theoretical returns. No proof. Brandon pulled out an iPad and showed complex charts and graphs. See, if you invested $500,000 today, by year's end, you'd have $590,000. That's $590,000, $90,000 profit. And if the investment fails, it won't fail. This is backed by international commodities contracts. Show me the contracts. Proprietary information, but I guarantee your principal. Personal guarantee from a convicted fraudster. Brandon, I need time to consider. Time is a luxury you can't afford. This offer expires at the end of the week. Artificial deadline. Classic pressure tactic. I said I need time. Brandon's demeanor shifted slightly. The charm cracked. Diane, honestly, at your age, can you afford to be indecisive? How many more opportunities will you have? At my age? Ageist intimidation. I'm 72, not 92. My mind is sharp. Of course, but financial markets are complex. Sometimes it's better to trust experts. Trust experts, like a convicted felon. That evening, after they left, I called Marcus. Marcus, the pressure is increasing. I think he's getting desperate. That's concerning. Desperate criminals make dangerous decisions. Should I tell Jessica? Not yet. If she confronts him, he might flee before authorities can act. What's the FBI's timeline? They're building a case, but need more evidence. Your situation could be the catalyst. What do you mean? If you engage with his scam while wearing a wire, it could provide evidence for conviction. Wearing a wire. At 72, I'd become an undercover operative. Is that safe? The FBI would provide protection, but the decision is yours. I considered. Jessica was married to a criminal. There were other potential victims. It was my civic duty. Let's do it. Marcus connected me with FBI agent Sarah Chen. Mrs. Richardson, we appreciate your willingness to help. Mr. Williams, or Brandon Reed, has been on our radar for 18 months. What's your plan? You'll pretend interest in his investment. We'll record meetings. When he accepts your money, we arrest him for wire fraud and probation violation. What about Jessica? She'll be protected. We believe she's a victim, not an accomplice. The plan was set. I was going undercover. On February 1st, I called Brandon. Brandon, I've reconsidered your investment opportunity. Excellent decision, Diane. How much are you thinking? $300,000 initially. If it performs well, maybe more. Perfect. When can we meet to complete the paperwork? This weekend? I'll come to your house Saturday afternoon. Saturday arrived. An FBI surveillance van was parked discreetly down the street. I wore a hidden recording device. Brandon arrived promptly with a professional demeanor and confident smile. Diane, you've made a smart choice. This investment will transform your financial future. I'm excited but nervous. This is my life savings. Understandable, but trust me, you're in good hands. Trust me. Famous last words of every con artist. Brandon spread out official-looking documents. Promissory note guaranteeing 18% returns, backed by international commodities futures. The documents looked legitimate, but I knew they were fabricated. Where do I wire the money? I'll give you account information. Cayman Islands Bank for international tax advantages. Cayman Islands. Classic money laundering destination. Brandon, this feels complicated. Maybe I should consult my attorney. Brandon's confidence flickered. Diane, involving attorneys creates delays and legal fees. This is a simple business transaction. Still, $300,000 is substantial. Diane, Brandon's tone hardened slightly. An opportunity like this requires decisiveness. Hesitation costs money. I saw a glimpse of the real Brandon, impatient, controlling, aggressive. Of course. When do you need the transfer? Monday morning. I'll email the account details tonight. Perfect. Brandon left satisfied. I immediately called Agent Chen. We got everything recorded. Monday, we'll arrest him when he attempts to access the wire transfer. What about Jessica? We'll inform her privately before the arrest. She'll need support. Monday morning arrived. I completed the wire transfer as instructed, knowing the FBI was monitoring. At 11:47 a.m., my phone rang. Agent Chen. It's done. Brandon Reed, a.k.a. Brian Williams, arrested at downtown Atlanta Bank, attempting to access your wire transfer. Jessica? We're with her now. She's shocked, but safe. Relief flooded through me. Later that day, Jessica called, crying, "Mom, I'm so sorry." I had no idea. I thought he loved me. Honey, he's a professional criminal. You couldn't have known. But I pushed you to invest with him. I almost helped him steal your money. Jessica, you were manipulated too. He's an expert at deception. How did you know? Suspicious from the beginning. Professional instincts plus private investigation. You hired an investigator? Marcus Thompson, former FBI. He uncovered everything. Why didn't you tell me? Had to be careful. If Brandon suspected, he might have fled. I feel so stupid. Don't. These criminals are professionals. They study psychology, practice manipulation. That evening, Agent Chen visited. Mrs. Richardson, outstanding work. Your evidence secured the conviction. What charges? Wire fraud, identity theft, violation of federal probation. He's looking at 15 to 20 years. Good. Also, we recovered funds from multiple victims. Your actions protected many people. 2 weeks later, Brandon pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. Jessica filed for divorce, which was quickly granted due to the criminal fraud. The media covered the story extensively. Grandmother goes undercover to catch son-in-law scammer. I received letters from other elderly victims thanking me for exposing Brandon. Jessica recovered emotionally with therapy. Now she's dating a genuinely nice man, an accountant with a verifiable background. Today, a year later, I reflect on the experience. Age doesn't equal vulnerability. Experience can be a powerful weapon against criminals. Trust, but verify. Love doesn't require blind faith. When my son-in-law, Brandon, tried to scam me with fake investment opportunities, thinking I was a naive old woman who doesn't understand technology, I had already run a complete criminal background check on him. While he thought I was a trusting mother-in-law, I had documented every detail of his identity theft, wire fraud, and racketeering history. Sometimes the predator becomes the prey. Sometimes wisdom beats manipulation. And sometimes a 72-year-old grandmother is exactly who criminals should fear most. Brandon learned that underestimating elderly women is a very expensive mistake. I learned that protecting family sometimes means going undercover. The FBI learned that grandmother informants are incredibly effective. And Jessica learned that true love never asks you to steal from your mother.